The clause says they eat and they are satisfied. If you're going to a church and you're lacking, there is a problem. Especially, you see, if your pastor is lacking and all of you are lacking, I understand. The harvest was bad that year. But when your pastor is balling and you are lacking, there is a biblical problem with your church. When you go into your church and you see hungry people and beggars in your church, there is a problem, because it is here the widows did not lack, because they ate and were satisfied. And he goes on to say, and the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the works of thy hands which thou doeth. We're still in Deuteronomy 14. Now I'm going to take you further inside Deuteronomy 14. If we go to 22, it says, thou shalt tithe all the increase. Who's with me? Who understands what I'm teaching this afternoon? Let's take this again. Deuteronomy 14:28. At the end of 3 years, thou shalt come forth with all the tithe of thy increase that same year, and lay it up at the gates. The instruction is you bring your tithe and you lay it at the gate of the city. And 29 says what will be done with the tithe. And the Levite, because he has no part or inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless are orphans, and the widow which are within your gates shall come and eat and be satisfied. Let's draw a circle around the phrase and be satisfied. They're not just going to come and eat, they're going to come and eat and belly full. When a pastor is flying a private jet and his boss and his people are riding a bus that is about to fall, those people have not eaten and they are not satisfied. I don't know who's with me. The clause says they eat and they are satisfied. If you're going to a church and you're lacking, there is a problem. Especially, you see, if your pastor, the tithe was meant for the priests or for the Levites, not for God. The part of the tithe that was meant for God, for the storehouse of God, can clearly be seen in Nehemiah 10:38. So if you have a Bible, let's go together to the book of Nehemiah 10:38. And a priest, the son of Aaron, shall be with the Levite when the Levites take tithes. And the Levite shall bring up the tithe of the tithe into the house of our God, to the chambers, into the treasure house. So only 10%, that is the tithe of the tithe, or the tenth of the tenth, as described by the book of Nehemiah, was meant to go into the storehouse. The rest was meant for the feeding of the widow, the orphan, the stranger, the Levite, and then 10% of that goes to the storehouse for the priests. Jesus doesn't need your money. Mama Risika, whose child is in the hospital, needs it on behalf of Jesus. So truly and honestly, if you want to give your money to Jesus, how do you go about it? Let's stop finally in the book of Matthew 25. Real quick, let's go to the book of Matthew 25, and we're reading from 32. I've read this verse so many times for you, I'm sure you'd understand it right now. And before him shall be gathered all nations, I beg your pardon, and he shall separate one from the other, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goat. And he shall say to the sheep on his right hand, and the goat shall be on his left hand. And he shall say to the sheep, come ye be blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food, and I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. And the sheep shall say, when were you hungry? And Jesus shall reply to them, each time you did it for the least of my brethren, you did it for me. So if we go back to Deuteronomy 14:28, let the widows, the orphans eat and be satisfied. It's right here. Now, I'm going to end this with Matthew 25:41. Now, these are the people that are sent to hellfire. Let's take it from 40 so you understand. And the king shall say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto me, the least of my brethren, you have done it to me. Then shall he say unto them on the left, depart, you cursed, into everlasting fire. What is everlasting fire? It's not hellfire. Prepared for the devil. Just in case you miss the everlasting fire, let it know that it's prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry. That's the first thing he said. I was hungry and you gave me no meat.